So we
And
get,
so because if a searcher came to you and said, "Hey, I don't have $500,000," so they got to go back and start
yep,
searching for investors,
yep.
and the pitch is going to sound like what, and usually what they get to comply with SBA loans for the other 80% or 70%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a majority of them put together a investment thesis or an investment deck. They'll share that with me. And they'll have stages of completion like, okay, I've entered into an LOI and now I want to make sure that I can get bank financing. So they'll come to me and say, okay, this is going to be the structure. We're buying this business for 5 million. I've got 50. I'm going to raise up 450 from investors. The seller's going to hold a $500,000 note. We would like a $4 million SBA loan. Does that work? So we'll look at the numbers. We'll go through the tax returns. We'll structure the deal. And then I'll say, yes. So we will give them a term sheet at that point that says, we would like to proceed forward under these terms and conditions. Then generally what they'll do is they will use that to start to go to market and say, we have a bank that we're working with. This is Bruce at First Bank of the Lake. You can look him up, look at his reputation. We're working with him to get the SBA loan. Now we have to go out and get soft commitments to raise up this additional 450,000. And as you know, there's a ton of professional investors that do this. There's groups out there that do this.
Yeah. By the
I
way,
have an
it's like a
issue.
huge list on Search Funder that'll do that. Yeah.
Huge list. And then there's some other firms out there that do it. There's a couple of firms in California. There's a couple of firms in Texas. There's a couple of firms in Boston that will lend to searchers, right? And they know the model, they understand the model, they know the investors behind it, and they can do it. And it's interesting because I've never had a deal where I've worked with a searcher and they have not been able to raise the money. They've never come back to me and say, oh, Bruce, we can't move forward because we were unsuccessful raising the funds.
You've never had anybody say we couldn't come up with the
No,
$450,000. Wow.
no.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's just, the bet is in the individual, right? Like
Uh-huh.
we talked
And
about.
then usually that individual that you're making a bet on is like, I mean, I could see him. He's going to get it done.
Yeah, he's going to get it done. And so from our standpoint as a bank, not only does he have to sell us, but he's got to sell the other 5, 6, 7, quote unquote, investors that he's the right one, right? Because they're investing real dollars into this as is we. So that gives us more comfort that, yes, he is a good bet. He is a good jockey. And 6 other people agree with me that he is.
Yeah.
That gives us a lot of comfort, to be truthful with you. Then, obviously, their board. I just recently approved we recently approved a pretty large transaction in California, and it was a $6.5 million deal. And, the buyer is going out to raise money. And I know the investors behind the deal, they were the ones who actually told the searcher, hey, you should speak with Bruce. He'll really like this deal and he can get it done. But I'm so confident with the people that are behind him, their industry focus, what they bring to the table to help him. It just makes it really easy for me to get the deal approved when I'm making the presentation to our executive loan committee, because we know the people, we know the investors, we have a track record with them. They've been right. They bring a lot to the table. That's super helpful. So it is important who the searcher brings on his team. It is important who is investors. And I've shared this with several searchers, John. If you're only looking to raise 500,000 and your thesis is I want to get 10 guys that got 50, right? So that's $500,000. You got to be able to know that those guys, God forbid, if you need a capital call, can do it, right? They're going to be there for you to support it. Not every time does a business just, we get the projections, they just show this upward trend, right? You never see, well, I got a learning curve. The business might go down. I may need some additional work, right? You only see this month after month after month, increases. Like, I own my own business for 13 years. You own your own business. Has that happened in all your years in business? Just straight
No,
up?
I wish it did, but no.
Yeah, right. And I laugh and I share with them that I go, "Oh, let's talk about reality.
Geez,
I've been there, done
it's
that."
like lumpy. It'll go like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. So it's important, right? It's important that, God forbid, you need to go back to your investors, that they've got the pockets to put in more money.